I'm getting more and more the sense that we are entering a new season for the collective consciousness, and now's the time to cut any kind of distractions or any kind of obstacles that are not serving you and what God wants you to be doing. And if you do so, God's going to surprise you. God will be surprising a lot of people this season. I foresee this happening quite a bit. And there's something that I think also that everybody ought to know is that I had a dream 2 nights ago that I woke up from feeling very sick from. I was feeling very just achy in the stomach, and it really made me sick to my stomach to see what was going on with this, with the happenings in this dream. And in the dream, I saw a bunch of different kinds of content creators, influencers, false teachers, and spiritual prophets that are not actually prophets that were leading many people astray. And it seems to me that we're entering a phase where this is actually happening. Well, so what happened in the dream was all of these people were using social media to coerce people into a certain mode of being in which they will be able to have their energy harvested by these people. I think MK Ultra programming is absolutely going to be a leading cause for a lot of this, but a lot of the influencers, I think, are under the influence of these kinds of mind programs without even realizing it. And that's something to take note of. And so when I woke up from this dream, what happened in the dream was that these people's energy was being harvested as we speak. And I was I get kind of chills thinking about that. But I was thinking about that as I woke up, and I was just really sick to my stomach for the next hour or so. I couldn't really sleep well. And it was all due to seeing what was actually happening. And then over the last couple days, there have been more and more and more people that are being exposed left and right, it seems. And I'm not even trying to expose anybody at this point. I'm just accidentally exposing people. And man, it's really crazy, because when you just are who you are, when you are truly authentic, when you're actually inspired by other people, you don't see these people as competition. You see them as a source of inspiration, something to strive for. And then when you want to share your authenticity, all of a sudden people get a target on your back. And what I've noticed too is the more that you grow as somebody with the capacity for greatness, if you're able to bend your will, because if you think about it, this is God's favorite type of person, specifically a man in this instance, because there are favorites. God has favorites, okay? But God favors the people, specifically the man in this case, that can bend the universe to his will, as long as it's in accordance to God's will, who does not take foolishness to be a sport, that does not eradicate striving, and that lives what is true and let dies what is false. These are just a few characteristics of what actually happens to people that are God's favorites. Is they see certain things happening in society and they move a certain way. And it's almost like even the people, let's say, even the people that you look up to or you might respect, they might misunderstand you. And they might see you as somebody that's, well, you're going to be a competition to them. They see your growth as competition. That's what's crazy, is these people that already have, whatever followings on social media and such, if you're a rising star, so to speak, and I'm not saying I'm a rising star, I'm just saying that, I'm just using this as an example, okay? If you're a rising star in social media and you have the potential for growth, they're going to be haters. Like, the people that are already up there are going to be haters. And you know what that says is that their mindset their mindset is down here. Their mindset is not where they want it to believe that they are, and their mindset is not where they want their audience to believe that they are. And so God's going to surprise you with a lot of interesting things this season. He's going to surprise you with perhaps abundance. Everybody's going to be surprised. It's just a matter of how people are going to be surprised, I think. Because I'm definitely getting the sense that the wheat and the tares are being ever more separated each day. And you know, what's crazy is I've had other people, like other YouTubers, and I don't consider myself a YouTuber, just somebody that makes YouTube videos and X videos and Rumble, etc. I don't have a title. I don't like titles. I don't like to be having a label on me, because the only thing that I truly am at the end of the day is a follower of Christ. And that's it. And when you have these kinds of moments, you'll start to see where other people that might be reaching out to you or wanting advice or anything like that, or, you know, how to start a YouTube channel, how to do this, how to do that. It's like, okay, well, a lot of people, like, here's the thing. Just don't quit. That's it. You're going to get somewhere. If you never quit, you will stop failing at some point. That's exactly the kind of mindset that you need to have if you want to get to wherever it is you need to go and do whatever it is that you want to do. I have a very specific niche in what I'm talking about. I have a very specific frame in how I do things, but it's also not very specific. As you guys can tell, this is a free flow consciousness type of video. That's how all of my videos are. And I love to do these types of videos because I want people to see the authentic real me. I know I'm not perfect. And it also allows me to develop more of a connection to you, the person watching this right now. Because if I'm being authentic, if I'm being true, then that's what's ultimately going to drive people to want to create with me, to want to build with me, because they know that in spite of my imperfections, in spite of maybe them not agreeing with everything that I say, they know that I am fueling their spirit in some way, shape, and form. And I'm not fueling their ego. I'm fueling their spirit and their soul. And of course, I'm going to give encouragement, but there's a difference between encouragement and flattery. Okay, there's a difference there. And the people that are reaching out to me and, you know, they're wanting to do this stuff, I hope that they reach the pinnacles of whatever it is that they're attaining. I hope they do. I really did pray for I pray for everybody that is on this path of really just trying to not eradicate striving from their life. Because that's the whole point. That's the whole goal. And God's going to use that drive that you have to surprise you in ways that you don't understand, maybe just not yet. But based on the dream that I had 2 nights ago, I'm getting the sense that the wheat and the tares are going to be even more separated than before. I really, I don't know what to think about the political landscape right now, simply because, well, I do know what I think, but at the same time, we don't want to get too caught up into this kind of stuff, right? Like, it's important to be in the know, but so many people are getting caught up in the worldliness. Like, they want to, this is what I was thinking about earlier today, is courage. I was thinking about courage and how courage is what separates, true courage and humility is what separates godly people from everybody else. If you don't have something to be courageous about, or if you don't have something that you can be humbled with, meaning God, because God can humble anybody at any time. If you can't have humility combined with courage, there's not going to be a healthy way to view what's happening in your life. And if you don't have something to give you courage to inspire you to fight against something, then yeah, you're also going to be not where you probably think that you ought to be. And God's probably going to be testing you, because he's trying to get you to move differently, and you don't want to move differently. But that's why my philosophy is no philosophy. My philosophy of life is the way of no way. This is an unknown territory. When you truly wake up to this life, when you truly wake up, you realize that you are no longer in the suburban, civilized world that you think you are. You see it for what it really is. It's just buildings. Like you're still in the mountains. Like I'm here in the mountains, right? So this is just like, for me, it's like I'm still in the mountains. I'm still in the forest. There are just certain buildings that look like there's things that are man-made here. I'm still a human being. I'm still an animal. But I'm not, like, I'm in between two worlds now. I'm recognizing my true nature. And this is something else I was thinking about, is having gratitude for this realization and awakening. Gratitude ought to be the most natural thing that comes to you when you're experiencing hardship or goodship. Is that a word? Goodship? Anyway, you guys get the point. But when you're experiencing hardship or goodship, gratitude and joy are going to be the most natural things that come to you. Either way. Because something that we're talking about in the Legends of Stoicism class right now is how Marcus Aurelius, writer of the Meditations, we're reading Meditations and going over these task questions each week with this. And something that I was thinking about is something that Marcus Aurelius said, where he talked about how the mind, what enters through your mind, cannot actually hurt you if it can also leave through your mind. And I thought a lot about that, because that really sends you for a loop if you don't really understand what he's saying, because it's kind of a fun mind twister. It's like, well, what exactly is entering through my mind then? What exactly is entering through my mind? What exactly is not entering through my mind? Well, that's the fun part. That's where you get to actually see, is reality happening outside of your mind, or is it happening inside of your mind? And if it's happening inside of your mind, well, then that means that, well, you may not have control over external events, but the external events only penetrate and cause you harm to your being insofar as you believe it does. Well, what does that mean? Well, it means that on the flip side, anything that happens with you that is successful and good and prosperous, that is also coming from your mind. Well, so now it's just a matter of choice. Right? And even though Marcus Aurelius didn't follow Christ, because maybe he knew about Christ, maybe he didn't, but because he was around, just a little later than Christ was, but not by much. And did news spread over to Rome at that point? Well, obviously, yeah, but maybe not in the sense that Marcus Aurelius had good reason to really consider this to be a possibility, right? So nonetheless, he was a very remarkable person who he was among the commoners quite frequently. He would actually walk with them. He would dress in casual robes and whatever. He wouldn't be like the royal emperor that he was. He would just be among the streets with people, and he would try to talk to them and learn from them and see what's going on. I mean, he lived a very humble life, but he was also very, very strategic in how he lived life. And he learned as much as he could. In Meditations, if you read Meditations, for the first book, that chapter, in those times it's the same thing. In the first chapter, he basically gives homage to everybody that he's come into contact with that has had a significant impact on him. And he recalls certain descriptions and situations in which that he was influenced by them. which I think is a very, very cool thing. But it just also goes to show how little people can actually appreciate things nowadays, where even a man like that could see the majesty and the beatitudes of life rippling through people that he shared a common life with. And so many people just don't have that nowadays. So many people don't have that. But I will say this, though. God will surprise you. God will surprise you in many ways this season, that's for sure. God's surprising me already. I'm not surprised that I'm surprised with God, but that just is the way that it is. I'm not surprised, but I'm not really disappointed either. And I'm not super excited about anything, because I know what God gives, God can also take. But I accept it, and I'm going to strive to keep what I have, and I'm going to strive to grow what I have. But I'm not trying to get too up or too down with anything. The blessings that come, I accept the blessings. I thank God for the blessings. I'm very grateful for the blessings. I am counting my blessings and not the obstacles, but at the same time, remaining true to what God wants me to be doing, and to be striving to do that to the best of my ability. So with all that being said, I hope this message was useful and insightful for you. If you do want to set up a one-on-one mentorship call with me, feel free to check my info in the link in the description box below for my email, or a DM in my Instagram or X, etc. We can set that up. Also, if you want to join the Regal Change Academy, where we have an elite group of spiritual people building their minds and bodies and souls each and every day, we're actually going to be having a Bible study later tonight. We have 3 weekly group calls that we do. One's at Regal Assembly, one's a Maps of the Psyche class, and then this Bible study. And those are really the bread and butter of the academy. We also have other classes and courses that you can take on your own time, but that's really the creme de la creme of the academy. What's really setting us apart is in those kinds of deeper conversations that we get to have. And I appreciate everybody moving from the YouTube platform over to X, Rumble, and Instagram. I do appreciate everybody's extra support there. And peace be with you all. Until next time.